We know from high school physics class that everything is energy and everything vibrates at a different frequency. And things that vibrate at a higher frequency are less dense. So air, water, plasma, light, blah, blah, blah. And things that vibrate at a lower rate and their particles are much closer together, their energies are closer together, is more dense. It's much more physical.
So you may not be experiencing great health elements, but you just can feel a little bit off, a little bit more emotional, or that things aren't aligned, and you can feel that within your body. So that's why having this mind-body connection, the self-awareness of who you are and what your homeostasis status is and what that feels like, where you're centered and you're grounded, what that feels like, so that when you do feel off, you can go, okay, maybe my energy needs something.
Negative emotions, those are all energy as well, whether it's anger, frustration, or positive emotions. But it's the negative emotions that act like a blocker in that toroidal energy field. And so when we release the anger or the grievance or whatever it is that we are holding on to that's not in alignment with our divine self, then the energy begins to generate when we can release that.
Or I've had problems with work, I keep going for that promotion, it doesn't work, or whatever it is that they would like to change. And they're thinking, okay, so is energy medicine going to help me? And from what everybody said so far, I think they're probably starting to think, it might be worth a try.
So there are many practicalities of this physical experience. And if we can unite that with the metaphysical experience, then we can become phenomenal, healthy, vibrant, dynamic human beings.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's discussion. You may have been watching our videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have gained value from our conversations, from our channel, it would be so appreciated for us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now and even give us a like. What that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it also allows us to bring in even more guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's wonderful panel discussion.
Welcome to this panel discussion hosted by Sacred You. Now, today I'm really excited because we're going to talk about energy fields and their role in our health. And we've got some amazing participants, all in the energy sphere. We've got Michelle Garbut, and I'm going to ask them in a short moment to introduce themselves. We've got Jennifer Passavan, we've got Dr. Simi Ahuja, and Mary Davis. Michelle, would you like to start? Can you just introduce yourself?
Hi, I don't know, never know where to start because I just cover so many things, but my journey with moving into the holistic field and offering those services was with energetic healing, and it's progressed from there. And I use a lot of intuitive work with my coaching and counseling now, and just seeing the benefits of working on the energy fields and that supporting people to feel more aligned is really important. And I feel that the connection between our health and the energies probably needs to be highlighted more so that people understand that connection and why that's so important to focus on. So I'm really interested in the discussion and what comes up today.
Wonderful, thank you. No, I'm excited as well, being in the energy field myself. And so yes, look forward to your contribution during this panel. Jennifer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jennifer Passavan. I refer to myself as a holistic healer. So I operate mind, body, spirit. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach. I'm an energy healing practitioner where I channel a seraphim angel as well as the ascended master Kuan Yin. They come in through the back of my heart chakra, move their energies through my physical body into your energetic field and your chakras to do energy healing. And then on top of that, I'm also a health and wellness coach. And so I work a lot with the energetic field with what I do. And I see how not only people control their own energetic fields, but also that how they're impacted by others in their surroundings. And so I'm really excited to be a part of this. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you for participating. Dr. Simi Ahuja, could you just, can I call you Dr. Simi? Can I just
Yes, please. That's totally fine.
Please introduce.
Okay. Yeah, of course. I'm Dr. Simi Ahuja. I'm a family practice physician by training, but over the last, 12, 13 years, I've been practicing mind-body medicine. And what I've realized during that time is that the energy is so key to our health. In fact, it's everything because we are all energy. So I've also authored a book called Raising the Inner Child, Discover Your Unique Path to Healing, which kind of touches upon the importance of the energy in our physical health. And I look forward to sharing all that with you. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for contributing. We're looking forward to it. But now, Mary, I do know. I've known for some time, and she's very talented, I know. Mary, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I am Mary Davis. I am a being of tremendous creativity, energy, and power. And that, for me, energy is the spiritual, metaphysical studies of Kabbalah and the Akashic Records have helped me with the physical energy healing. I had 2 heart attacks and was diagnosed with heart failure just over 5 years ago, and am living abundantly, joyfully, learning more with the support of the programs here. I enjoy sharing my talent in the Wonderful Words tribe. I'm happy to be here on this panel today, hopefully learning and providing information from my own experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. That's wonderful. I'm Charlotte Mitchell. I am a medical herbalist, Western medical herbalist, also a TCM practitioner. So I use Chinese herbs as well. But also I've been an energy healer for quite some time in my career. So I'm really excited about this subject because I feel that energy precedes matter. And I think it's something that we all could, if we understand it, we can have much better physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So welcome, everybody. So can we just start with, what is the universal energy field? Maybe Jennifer, could you explain to us and also talk to us about how the energy field impacts on our own aura and individual biofield?
Sure. So as I understand it, and I would appreciate if anybody else would like to expound or give their alternative perspective. But as I understand it, the universal energy field is basically the field of energies that are made up of photons, protons, electrons, gamma rays, plasma rays, and all of the rays of energy that make up our universe, both energetic and physical, seen and unseen. And as those energies move through our energetic field, and this is true if you have, say, if we have an electromagnetic EMF, like an electromagnetic pulse from the sun, we feel that it impacts our energetic field as well as our nervous system, because our nervous system is energetic. Plasma rays do that, but we also notice an influence from the planets, because the planets also have their own electromagnetic field and an electromagnetic impulse that interacts with the Earth's electromagnetic impulse. And so it's just this dance and this marriage between their energies and our energies. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it certainly does. And Dr. Simi, what is your view? How would you explain the universal energy field and its impact on us?
This is a really great question, and I want to bring it down into the body. So we heard like the cosmic view of what, I'm sorry, I forget her name. She
Jennifer.
just spoke. I'm sorry. Jennifer. She described it beautifully. And I believe that we are the universal energy field, and everything is contained within this physical body. It's the vessel. And we have photons, neutrons, electrons, and all the rays. That's why we are so affected by what appears to be external. But we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. And we generate when we are grounded and in our spiritual purpose, we generate a toroidal energy field. It goes this way. And what that does is it helps us to connect the up above to down below. So we act like what we call in axis mundi, meaning we are the anchor of those energies. And so it's important to lean into our purpose, and so we can begin to generate this toroidal field like we are all meant to do. And that is truly our purpose here on earth.
So when we connect with this toroidal field, does that make it easier for us to connect with our purpose? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So it's not that we connect with the toroidal field, we become the toroidal field where the energy is just flowing. And when there is a block in that energetic field, which we'll get into hopefully, that block is then what stops the energy field. So our purpose is to continue to work on ourselves so the energy can continue to be generated. In fact, negative emotions, those are all energy as well, whether it's anger, frustration, or positive emotions. But it's the negative emotions that act like a blocker in that toroidal energy field. And so when we release the anger or the grievance or whatever it is that we are holding on to that's not in alignment with our divine self, then the energy begins to generate when we can release that. So it's our purpose, it's our job as part of the incarnation that we are in to integrate, to release, so that we can step into our purpose, which is to generate this toroidal field for humanity.
Oh, wonderful. That makes it very clear. Thank you for that. Michelle, have you anything to add about the energy field, the universal energy field?
I don't think so. I think Jennifer and Dr. Simi have wrapped it all up beautifully, like the bigger picture and then the personal picture. It's a great representation, and I don't think we're going to get into how these things are disrupted, but I don't think we really need to jump into that right now. I think it's been wrapped up, both sides of that coin, beautifully by Jennifer and Dr. Simi.
That's wonderful. So can we go on to healing? And what is energy medicine? What is healing medicine? How does it work? How does energy medicine fit in with healing?
I think there's so many interruptions into our energetic field, and broadly that energetic medicine is healing those interruptions and disruptions to our energetic field, be they either from, as Dr. Simi says, those negative emotions that are rising and those blocks that we have personally creating the energy, but then also when we're looking at electromagnetic fields that are the more man-made disruptors, and then also the cord ties that we have with other people that also then come into our energy fields, possibly suck our energy fields, deplete our energy fields. And so energy medicine to me is about healing all of these things. So either helping internally to allow that flow of energy to come through, to working with the disruptions that are coming into our energy field. So either cutting the cords if we need to with other people, protecting ourselves from the disruption of man-made electronic devices and feel like that magnetic energy that is interrupting our fields, be that from, look, I dealt with a person who was so badly affected by smart meters and microwave Wi-Fi fields, all of these things, that she was extremely sick from it. So it's then balancing that interruption to our energy fields and working with the meridians as well within our body. You being in Chinese medicine would know all about the meridian fields that are running that we also need to keep clear. And that's, again, another form of energy running through the body. So to me, energy medicine is all of these beautiful different ways that we can support our energetic field and either allow the flow to happen within ourselves or to block what is coming at us from the external world.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what we'll do, you've touched on so many areas there, very important areas. So we're going to come back to them and see about solutions and things like that a little bit later. So that's wonderful. Thank you for introducing all those elements, Michelle. Mary, I know that you work with the Akashic Records. So can you tell us a little bit about sort of energy medicine in the way that you practice it?
Within the Akashic Records, my explorations it's very expansive. I have seen how people in their soul's journey of different lifetimes have developed healing things, of potions, growing things that become healing herbs and foods, and how to use water, how to use the elements of light and sound healing. These are very vibrant within the Akashic Records. Very powerful people are using them in these healing ways. That one time I had an experience reading someone, and she had ascended and made a decision to come back to the planet and live another embodied life. And during our session, my broken foot got healed. She didn't specifically know I had that problem. Her healing energy was just so powerful that the physical closeness and the spiritual closeness allowed it to go into my body and heal that for me. I've had Reiki treatments. Currently, I have devices in my body that deal with energy and in relaying information from my body to my brain. So there are many practicalities of this physical experience. And if we can unite that with the metaphysical experience, then we can become phenomenal, healthy, vibrant, dynamic human beings and help work to make the planet a healthier place where people can be healed with clean water and clean air by the physical efforts of people on the planet.
Thank you, Mary. And can I just ask you to sum up very briefly the Akashic Records, because maybe some of us don't understand it completely. So just a really brief summary.
All right. Many people have seen it's a library and everybody's book of life. Actually, the Akashic Records are the compendium of everything. It is the entirety of the cosmic existence. So I have seen soul journeys of individuals through many lifetimes. I have seen, as I said, different planets and different times. So it's everything. People can learn to go in and develop a relationship with their own guides to explore how the Akashic Records can work for them. When I do readings, I most often am seeing their past lives and how things that happen in those lifetimes have been forgotten, like the owner's manual that got lost. And when I can relate the experience that they had, then in this here and now lifetime, they can know that they have that capability to deal with things in certain ways that they forgot that their soul had done that before.
Wonderful. So basically, they hold information about that individual, not only in this lifetime, but also for generations past as well, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mary. That's wonderful. How do we measure energy medicine or energy in the body? How do we assess energy in the body? Jennifer, how do you do it?
For me, when I'm working on a client, I determine that based on the way their chakras are feeling. My left hand is usually working on the front side of the chakras, and my right hand is working on the back side of the chakras. And the chakras from the side actually look like trumpets. So from the front, they look like a disc, but when you turn from the side, there's a back and a front because they're vortices, they're portals. And so they pull energy through, and then ideally the energy will go back out the other side. Unless, of course, someone has had a wound, whether it's a subconscious programming wound from childhood that continues to play out, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a car accident, which could also cause emotional trauma besides the physical trauma, whatever these wounds are, those will then stay in the energetic field if they've not been released. And so as I'm working on their chakras, I can feel when there's density still on the backside of the chakra that has not been processed through as I'm sending through, as we are sending energy through the chakra. And on the front, I can tell if there's something impacting their world now that reflects something that is attached to the back of the chakra. They will put my hand in a mudra that will tell me that there's something going on now impacting that chakra. So for me, that is how I determine what their energetic field looks and feels like.
And what happens if you have people clients coming to you who really don't understand energy, or you encounter people who just, you say what you do and they look at you as if you...
Lobsters crawling out of my ears. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yes, we can't see energy, so what on earth are you talking about? But how do you approach them? What do you say to them?
Yeah, well, if they are in terms of seeking energetic healing, or like, how do I explain energy healing? Is that what you're asking?
Really? Yes, first of all, what about the skeptic, the pure skeptic? And I'm going to ask Dr. Simi as well, and Michelle and Mary too.
Sure.
What do you say? Yes, skeptic, totally skeptic, materialistic view of the universe, doesn't understand energy at all. Where do you start?
Sure. First of all, I wouldn't try to convince anybody who doesn't actually already. If someone's genuinely interested, fine. But if they're there to challenge me, I'm not going to try to change their mind. That would be step one. But second of all, I would say we know from high school physics class that everything is energy and everything vibrates at a different frequency. And things that vibrate at a higher frequency are less dense. So air, water, plasma, light, blah, blah, blah. And things that vibrate at a lower rate and their particles are much closer together, their energies are closer together, is more dense. It's much more physical. And so that also then translates to thoughts, feelings, beliefs, emotions, diseases, wounds, illnesses, that sort of thing. And so if you have, let's say you have a subconscious wounding and that energy is sitting in your subconscious mind, but it's causing you to produce emotions, and those emotions have energies, and then those emotions cause you to have negative thoughts. Those thoughts also have energies, and then those energies compound, and then they densify, and then those densified energies can become a physical illness or a syndrome, something like that. So that's how I approach it. They can take that and do whatever they want with it, but I explain it in terms of frequency. With energy healing aspect, of course, we are then introducing a higher frequency. We are channeling a higher frequency to try to balance out those lower frequency energies, those more dense energies of the negative emotions or the illnesses or the subconscious programming. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you. No, that's wonderful. And Dr. Simi, I know that you were a family health practitioner and worked in conventional medicine before you entered the world of energy medicine. So from your perspective, how do you explain things? And what would you say to the skeptic?
I would start out by saying that this is such an esoteric subject that we're trying to ground it. We're trying to understand it. We're trying to make sense of it. So we're all going to have bits and pieces then that the audience may need to put all the pieces together. So great question. And I want to start out by saying that I use the example of Jesus, and whether some people believe in him, even that's for another time. But I use this example that he could raise from the dead, right? And how did he do that? There's no medication, there's no drugs, there was no research done that allowed these people to allow Jesus to help heal these people. So we are all energy, whether we understand that concept or not. We are all energy. And what happens is this body is actually vibrating at a very high frequency. But when we encounter an emotion that's denser, like anger, sorrow, grievance, what it does, it slows our energy field down, and it slows our chakras down, because our chakras, as Jennifer explained so eloquently, they're like a trumpet. And they are spinning. And what they're doing in that spinning is they're extracting that divine light, which feeds our body, which feeds our cells. And that's what allows us to function, the body to function properly in the way it needs to be. But what happens is, when we are experiencing these emotions, or when we carry that in our energy field, or we carry this emotion in our heart, the denser emotions, they slow the radiation and the vibrancy of these chakras. And so the chakras are not able to pull in the light, which then leads to a physical illness. And I believe that's grounding. And the energy field is, again, it's vast. And I hope that this helps in understanding of how it affects our physical body, and how the signs of the physical body versus the chakras, the spiritual side of it, helps to connect the dots between the two.
Yes, it absolutely does. But you were also saying about grounding. Are you talking about grounding practices and things to try to help with the flow of the energy?
Actually, in a way, yes. For me, the grounding practice is tuning into your emotions, because when we're out there, we're dissociated. But when we can truly feel in here, what emotion is it am I feeling in this moment? And when we can begin to identify the whole octave of emotions, it's not just the joy and the happiness or the anger or the frustration, it's all of it. When we can be centered to our emotions, that's what leads to us. So what happens is, when we can be in the present moment to our emotions, the research has shown that the two areas of the brain, the amygdala and the hippocampus, which are in charge of the memories, somehow they work together to release that emotion, especially if it's a denser emotion. So to me, that's a more grounding practice. And I know there's a lot of other grounding practices out there, but this is the one that I use the most often.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. That will really help people. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Michelle, do you find you need to explain a lot about what energy healing is, or energy medicine is? And also, do you work alongside the conventional medicine? Do you find that you do that, or you tend to be quite separate in your practice?
So the first question, I probably don't have to explain a lot. As soon as I say I'm an energetic healer and people question, I'm like, Reiki, because most people know what Reiki is. They go, okay. And as Jennifer said, I'm not really in the business of trying to convince someone of what I'm doing. I believe in it, and I'm happy to answer questions, but I'm not going to get into a debate or try to convince someone that this is the right way, because I feel everybody knows within themselves what's the right way for them. And if they're willing to try something new because what they're currently doing isn't working, I'm more than happy to have those conversations. But I'm not going to talk to somebody who might be experiencing a health ailment, or might just be feeling off, and saying to them, maybe you should try this and this is why, unless they're open to that, because it's a waste of our energy. And I'd like to keep my energy for myself and someone who's interested in sharing my energy. So in those instances, I don't feel that I have to explain a lot, because I just don't want to entertain those conversations unless someone's open to them. It's just a way of protecting myself, and you are knocking your head against a brick wall sometimes, and people are doing it to get a rile out of you. And I'm also not into that. My boundaries don't allow those conversations to take place. And I guess, again, that's another energetic thing, and people pick up on that energy and where I stand in those situations. So I don't find that I'm having too many conversations where I'm convincing someone. It's just more of an open discussion. So in that sense, no, I guess is the long short answer of that.
Thank you. And what about working alongside conventional medicine?
It's interesting that you say that, because I actually have an autoimmune disease. So there are times when I have to work alongside conventional medicine, because there are times when my body needs a little bit more of support. So I do turn to conventional medicine in that sense. And I have some clients that balance the two as well. So they may be having autoimmune diseases as well. I've worked with a client who was dealing with a lot of physical symptoms from her, like just responses to electromagnetic fields around her. So we were addressing it from that side, and she was then getting the additional support. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, she was also seeking conventional support from that. So from my standpoint, I think the two can marry very well together. But then as well, sometimes conventional medicine does cause some disruption to the energetic field, and then you have to mitigate that or also work with that response. So for me, just because of where I stand and the impact of doing the energetic work with the conventional medicine, it's worked quite well. There are times when I step away quite a lot from the conventional medicine, and I just do a lot of the holistic practices, making sure that I'm centered, I'm grounded, and I feel aligned. And I guess that can also come and answer that question of how can we measure ourselves? So as a healer, Jennifer's explained it beautifully, but as someone who wants to know, how do I know my energy's off? Is that you feel off. So you may not be experiencing great health ailments, but you just can feel a little bit off, a little bit more emotional, or that things aren't aligned, and you can feel that within your body. So that's why having this mind-body connection, the self-awareness of who you are and what your homeostasis status is and what that feels like, where you're centered in your ground, what that feels like, so that when you do feel off, you can go, okay, maybe my energy needs something, whatever that is, for me to fill that cup myself, or for me to seek support from a practitioner to help me rebalance my energy. So for you personally, if you're wondering, so someone watching, how do I know? There's a feeling within yourself of unalignment, of just feeling a little bit off. You might even just be feeling a little bit run down, but you're not quite sure. There are subtle signs that the body gives you, and as you ignore that, it can progress to more. Having that awareness of yourself and how you should feel within your body is really helpful of understanding when your energy might need some assistance.
Wonderful. No, that's great. I'm just going to ask all of you just for either a personal example. You've given one actually, Michelle, you've told me. So the others, Jennifer, Dr. Simi and Mary, just individual example of you using energy healing and it helping in some way, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or maybe one of you talking about one of your clients and how it's impacted positively on them. Jennifer, can you give us an example?
Yes, I was going to let Mary jump in, but
are you ready, Mary? Would you like to go first, Mary?
Go ahead, Mary. You go ahead.
You go ahead.
All right. When I'm in the Akashic Records, I'm not Edgar Casey. I don't get the healing prescriptions. But because I connect the person I'm reading for with the guides from the records, they do the healing work. And that's pure energy, pure wisdom of picking the right experience that they show me, that then I relate to the person. Because when I'm doing readings, I'm literally dropped into their past lives and I narrate, what do I see? What do I hear? And those things then are applicable to the person's here and now lifetime, because they come back to me a few weeks later and say, I didn't know what that reading really meant. And then this happened, and I knew exactly how to take care of myself in the situation, and everything went smoothly from there. So that sort of energetic empowerment of the person to live the life that they should be living is my experience of the healing that happens from the Akashic Records.
That's wonderful, Mary. Do you have an actual example? So people watching are saying, I suffer from headaches, or I've had problems with work. I keep going for that promotion, it doesn't work, or whatever it is that they would like to change. And they're thinking, okay, so is energy medicine going to help me? And from what everybody said so far, I think they're probably starting to think, it might be worth a try. But can you just give a specific example maybe of a client that you've had? Or
as I had mentioned before, the woman who had returned and my foot got healed
Yes.
I had several bones broken and it wasn't healing and it wasn't healing. And I had that session with her and the pain stopped. And when I saw the foot doctor a few days later and he did the x-rays, all the bones were whole again.
Wonderful. No, thanks for repeating. That's so important, because then if people see that there can be tangible change, then they start to understand that this is not ephemeral. It's actually practical.
It was her energetic healing power that made the difference for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. That's wonderful. Jennifer, have you got an example?
Sure. So I've got a few. I remember a gal telling me that her peanut allergy was gone after I worked on her, which surprised the bejeebies out of me. I had another gal tell me that her digestive upset was gone, and a gentleman told me that his low back was feeling much better, and those are all physical things. From a mental and emotional perspective, I don't just do the energy work, because my job is to help them understand the cause of the energy and why that blockage was there, what the cause of that was. And so we then, using my intuition and them explaining, trying to make sense, because I don't know what I'm working on when I'm working on it, and I don't like to know when I go into a session. So at the end, I'm like, what were we just working on? What was all that? And they explained to me they put together the dots of what we were working on. And as they're talking, I get intuitive information as to the root cause of it. So once we know the root cause, if it was a childhood wounding that created a limited belief, and then that created some emotions of I don't love myself, I don't value myself, I'm not worth being loved, blah, 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 which then dictates your emotional state, dictates your 95% of your behaviors throughout life. Once we can work through that and we can show how not only the lie that they were led to believe about themselves through that wounding, but then the truth of that lie, then they can start shifting their thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives to a new truth, a new emotion, a new belief, a new programming. And that shifts their energy more permanently, right? You have to create that permanent shift by reprogramming that subconscious mind. And so I've had people, this sounds awful, but cry mid-session, which I know sounds terrible, but it's the sign of a breakthrough. When they start crying, it's like a release of energy and they've let that go. And then it's, oh my God, I didn't see it before now. I'm so glad you pointed it out to me. And so now they're moving through life with this whole new awareness, operating at a different energetic frequency. It's just spectacular. And I have too many examples of that to name, but that's the meat and taters of what I love to do.
That's wonderful. So it's a long-lasting change, because you've got to the root cause in the first place. So you've shifted that, and then obviously everything else unfolds in a different way.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Dr. Simi, I know you're full of examples, so you have so many, I know.
Yeah, I do have a lot, and I would like to share this one particular one that started my own journey and helped me to navigate through the medical system after that. It was just as I was so green into the spiritual field. This was back in April of 2012, and I had just started doing just my own inner work. And I was a part of this class that was talking about unconditional love. And I came across this gentleman. He was 70 years old at the time. He was in Germany, I'm in the States, and we somehow connected on Facebook and email. Apparently, he had a hernia repair surgery done that went haywire, and he was looking at a second surgery because he had an abscess. Lo and behold, he was looking at a third surgery because that developed into hematoma. He was looking at his fourth surgery, and because he had something called a seroma. Now, as a medical practitioner, we know that seromas take a minimum of 4 to 5 months to heal, if they heal. And if they do heal, they leave a disfiguring scar, so they still have to go in and surgically correct that scar. He shared with me that he had been married for the last 50 years, but for the last 20 years, he had been estranged from his wife. They lived in the same house, but in different rooms like roommates. And after he shared that with me, and this was my very first download, and I know it's a download because that's not how Simi thought in those days. So medically based, so evidence-based, right? And so the download came that he needed to heal his relationship with his wife in order for the wound to heal. And little timidly, I shared this information with him, and he was a little upset with me at first. He goes, "Leave my wife out of this." I said, "Listen, buddy, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing on the information that I have received." And 2 days later, he emailed me back. He goes, "Fine, I'm going to take baby steps and I'm going to show my wife unconditional love." And I said, "That's a great baby step." I wasn't about to tell him that's not a baby step. That's huge, right? Within 2 days, he rekindled his relationship with his wife. Within 10 days, the seroma healed completely without leaving a disfiguring scar, no need for further surgeries. And what I learned from that is, again, it's the emotional cause behind a physical illness. So when he released that anger, that denser emotion, the healing happened, but the physical symptoms are simply a clue as to what's going on within ourselves. And when we can correct that root cause, the physical heals. So I think that as a physician, when we try to prescribe medications and when we take the person through surgery, what that actually does is it suppresses the energies, and it actually causes them to layer that you're not able to clear. And so the illness will actually return in a future lifetime because the energy doesn't know time and space. So if you can't move these energies in this lifetime, you will have to do it eventually in another lifetime, and that's okay. But that's the power of energies. They cause a dis-ease, but they can also lead us back into ease. And so when I saw this miracle happen in front of my eyes, I was so angry, and I said, "Why are doctors not talking about it? Why are we not taught this in medical schools?" And since then, I've used this simple yet powerful technique, and I empower people with this technique too, so they don't have to keep coming back to me. They will, because this technique requires a little of a learning curve. But man, once you learn it, and you can truly be empowered to heal yourself at home. And so I've had miracles happen in my small and private practice because it's been a little bit of a challenge to navigate through the landscape of medicine, because people, if you don't cover insurance, people don't want to see you. The problem is that insurance is not going to cover this energy medicine, and the healing is permanent. Unfortunately, they don't want to see the permanent healing because that means that they won't make the money on the pharmaceuticals and the surgical surgeries and whatnot. So I would say, as a physician who's been practicing this way of medicine for the last 12, 13 years now, I say, learn about it. If you're skeptical, it's okay. Learn about, because this is the new frontier of medicine, energy medicine. So
that is so exciting, isn't it? Honestly, it's so exciting.
At all levels.
Absolutely. Do you know what? It really segues into something that Michelle brought up, and I just would like you to talk about. And that is man-made electromagnetics. Now, Dr. Simi, you have just said that if we deal with our emotions and we strengthen ourselves and balance ourselves, that physical condition disappeared incredibly quickly. Absolutely amazing. Michelle, you were talking about man-made electromagnetics, and a lot of people I know are becoming hypersensitive to their cell phone or the smart meter or whatever it is. Do you feel like, Dr. Simi, do you feel that if we work on our own energy field, we can decrease the potential for electrosensitivity from electrosmog? Can you talk a little bit about that, because you seem experienced?
I think we can, but I think we also need to bring practices in. But I think the more and more that we advance technology, the harder it is becoming to protect ourselves from this. And that's why more people are experiencing this sensitivity to it. The person that I know, it actually was quite deliberate. Her health suffered. She actually had to move out of the house. It all started with a smart meter that was installed when she was living overseas. And her health deteriorated dramatically. She couldn't work. She moved back here with her family. Was actually camping in her backyard because she couldn't be near the Wi-Fi, the microwave, anything that was connected with these electromagnetic fields. And so she was literally building herself back up. And I think her camping in the background, that grounding, she was on the earth all the time, very close to the earth, that helped ground, and that transfer of energy between the body and the earth, and that cleansing that happens in that moment helped repair her to a degree where she was able to return to the house. But they have put in place for her like some really strict rules around not having the Wi-Fi on in the house. They turn it on and off. She's very conscious when she goes out and has to really protect her energy around her friends or asking them to put their devices on airplane mode. And it's not possible for everyone to do that. And they also don't understand. And I was working with her when they were bringing out the 5G towers here in Australia. And she was really concerned about how that next level of energy that's coming out in this way, this man-made energy, would then impact her health. So she's doing everything that she can from a personal level to protect her energy. And I know some people wear crystals to protect as well around that. And she was doing everything she could, resting, making sure she was grounding, really conserving her energy and trying to project her energy in every single way. But I think the more we advance our technology, the more our poor bodies are being bombarded with all of this external energy that is coming. And she even spoke about the people within her community that were actually going and living off grid because it's the only way that they could live. And we can't all go and live off grid because that's the way that our life is now. That's the way that the modern world has moved. So we can only do so much for ourselves because we're constantly getting bombarded everywhere. You go to a restaurant, they've got the little phone doing the order, there's Wi-Fi there. You're just constantly impacted from this external energy, and there's only so much you can do individually, and there's only so much help that you can get externally, and there's a financial implication of that as well. And so I think, yes, we can. There's steps that we can take personally, but there's also taking into consideration that we are constantly bombarded with this external field coming at us. And I think more and more people are experiencing this hypersensitivity, and we can do as much as we can, but I feel, where does this stop? And at what point do we understand the impact that this is having to us and maybe reconsidering how some things operate? But there are things that we can do and we can work with to try and mitigate what is happening. But the technology just keeps advancing, and how do you keep up with that?
I know it, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, before I'm going to come to Mary, because I think you're using an energy gadget or something, I believe, but just beforehand, Dr. Simi has asked a comment on man-made electromagnetics and what we can do about it.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's an important topic. So what my experience has been and my understanding of this, I agree, as long as we focus on the external, we're not going to be able to protect ourselves from this kind of electromagnetic field. What I have learned in my 12 years of practicing medicine this way is that when we truly do our inner child work, we release those emotions, we enlighten the heart. So what the heart does is it creates an electromagnetic shield around us when we can be truly in our heart. It's safe, it's cheap, and it's totally doable. Granted, it takes time to get to that place, but when the heart creates a shield around us, all the vision I'm getting right now is all the other electromagnetics that are coming at us bounce right off of that. So I would love to empower people in knowing that there is a way, an inner way, because it can get financially debilitating to try and protect this and then protect that. And yes, it was all the scare about the 5G towers, including myself. I wanted to run away and go into the countryside and just live off the grid. But for me, that wasn't the solution, because then you isolate yourself and that causes depression and other issues that can cause when we isolate ourselves from the rest of the society. My recommendation would be then to continue to do that inner work and get that heart to shield you. It's truly simple. Not saying it's easy, but it is that simple.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because it's good to have some solution, because as Michelle said, yes, we are being bombarded. And I do remember interviewing quite a few people when there was a mandatory rollout in Victoria in Australia of smart meters. And a lot of them were saying that actually one particular couple actually sold their house in Victoria and moved to Queensland because it wasn't mandatory there. because they had a problem. So it's really good to know that you don't have to get up, as you say, get up and go into the bush or somewhere. Well, we can't get away from it anyway because of the satellites. So that's really wonderful to know. Now we have about 10 minutes left. Mary, I want to come to you. And then after that, I would like each of you just to, apart from the fact that Dr. Simi has already given us a tip, some more tips about how people can keep their energy strong, their energy field strong. And then after that, I would like you just to just say how people can contact you and things like that. First of all, Mary, you've been using an energy.
I have been using the LifeWave X39 patch. And this is a device that does not send anything into the body other than reflecting your own body's light energy. And it helps stimulate the stem cells, which do a lot of healing inside the body, and promote the energy. This is a patented product. It was originally developed to help Navy SEAL soldiers stay awake, stay alert, stay active, so they could stay safe for up to 48 hours at a time without needing a lot of sleep. And they could just have that energy. I have noticed for myself that when I do sleep, my sleep is deeper. And then when I am awake, I feel much more alert. As I said, I've been living with heart failure for over 5 years, and that had caused a lot of fatigue, a lot of body heaviness. And this product I've been using for 6 weeks has already made a difference about how much I can walk without getting short of breath, how much I can dance around in my apartment just to be emotionally happy. This has been a very intriguing experience. They are developing a water, not actually a filtering system, but a water treatment device that is going to be using light energy. And the testing that they've done with it is when people have taken the water, started to drink it, that they have been measuring heart rates, they've been measuring electrical pulses, any sort of thing that they can use to measure blood work. It's longstanding, and they are finding phenomenal changes in how that light infused water also transmits a natural energy that empowers our bodies. So I'm very excited. That's going to be available for the public to buy later this year.
Thank you, Mary. Can you, if you want to, put just some details in the chat for us?
I can put
because I think a lot of us here love to research and love to look at the science and see what's going on and how they appear to be doing it, even though I know it's patented. So yes, if you could, Mary, that would be marvelous.
Okay.
Thank you. That's wonderful. So just some tips, just a couple of tips each, if you can, for people who are listening, watching, and really would like to strengthen their own energy field. And then please tell us where they can also find you, because they may need some support and assistance to help with their energy as well. Michelle, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. I think what Dr. Simi is saying, like as a long approach to protecting your energy and raising your inner personal vibration, is to do the work. Like, it's key. You really have to come to these root causes and heal them so that you can energetically be at a better place, to be at a higher vibration, to have, as she says, that field around your heart, around yourself. And so that's something that's long term that, you know, is definitely helpful. And I did see when I was working with the person, as we dove into the deeper wounds within herself, she experienced slow improvement because she also had a lot of fear around re-entering the world and being faced with more electromagnetic fields. But I think short-term things that you can do on a daily, for me, is I'm constantly barefoot unless I have to put shoes on. Most people that know me know I am running around with no shoes on and connecting with the earth. There's a natural transfer of energy that takes place in this grounding, and that's one way to help cleanse your energy. If you're lucky enough to live near a beach, which I am, salt water is amazing for your energy fields and for your own personal energy. It's just that cleansing salt water. Even if you can't do it by going for a swim in the ocean, Epsom baths. We have some beautiful bathhouses near us, which have just started out where they have plunge pools and they've got magnesium and sodium and beautiful minerals in there to help cleanse the energy. Meditation is another beautiful way as well to that grounding, clearing the energy through the connection with the earth. I think it's one of the biggest things that you can do is really connecting with the earth and allowing that natural process to take place, cleansing with water, salt water in particular is really beneficial for doing that. I probably try to jump in the ocean about 3 times a week just for that cleansing, just allowing my energy field to cleanse. There's so many different ways that you can do that. I won't take them all up because there's other beautiful women who that also know other ways, and I don't want to list them all off and then
That's fine. That's wonderful.
Me, hello.
No, that's wonderful, Michelle. That's fantastic. And people, and also anybody can go and take their shoes off and go to the beach or walk in the park or something. That's marvelous. Can you just tell us where people can find you, and if you have a particular offer for today for the Sacred You community or anybody that's actually watching, can you let us know?
Sure. I'm running programs constantly that are doing work on the inner self and doing the deeper work so that you can heal the root cause of the disruptions to your energy field. So there's always something on my website of a way of tapping into that. And my website is my name, so it's michellegarbett.com. Nice and simple. Or on social media, it's Michelle_Garbett. And that's like my main focal point. I also do energetic work and soul journeys with people, which is another way of coming into the body and seeing what needs healing or what your soul is trying to tell you, which is another healing way. One-to-one and personally, I do energy healing sessions as well in Wollongong. But yeah, a lot of the work that I do is I like to get to the root cause. I want you to see results that are long-term and lasting, and to be able to do that, we really have to dive in. And sometimes people aren't ready for that step, so we do a little bit of energetic work, and then they're willing to be open to really diving in. So a lot of the work that I do is that root cause. So
Wonderful.
Through coaching programs.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And links will be below, so people will be able to access them easily if they want to connect with Michelle. So that's wonderful. And Mary has said that she lives on the 4th floor, and even just growing plants on the balcony and dipping her hands into the earth, and that is, great. And Trina says earthing mats have helped people with mobility issues. So thank you, both of you, for that. Jennifer.
I'm going to repeat a little bit of what both Dr. Simi and Michelle have said, just to drive the point home of healing those inner wounds, becoming self-aware of what those wounds are, how you look at what triggers you, what hurts your feelings, all of those things. That will be your first clue, that level of self-awareness. And then either on your own or with practitioners like us, work to overcome those. But as Michelle was saying, on a daily basis, breath work for me is key, because certain breathing techniques stimulate that toroidal field and that energetic field. Meditation paired with breath work, paired with the breath work, helps to stimulate the vagus nerve, which calms it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. Doing vestibular motion, so rocking side to side, twisting, that stimulates the limbic system, which then communicates to the amygdala, which tells the amygdala to calm down. You're not in a state of trauma, so it helps you to relax. Relaxation helps. Put a smile on your face. Smiling tells the mirror neurons in your brain that it produces positive brain chemicals, but it also tells the mirror or the brain that you can start feeling positive emotions. And so it just talks to the brain, it talks to the nervous system. Have positive visualizations, right? What do you want to experience? Feel those positive emotions. Remember that even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you are in conscious control of your feelings, you have the choice to choose how you respond to something and how you feel. And how you feel dictates a lot of your energetic field. Charge your water, put a prayer on it, put crystals in it, wear crystals, do earthing. I could go on, but I'm going to let Dr. Simi and Mary have their go at this as well.
Thank you, Jennifer. And where do we find you? Where do people find you?
Sure, you can find me at www.jenniferpassavant.com. You can also find me on Facebook as Jennifer Passavant Holistic Healer. I'm on YouTube as Jennifer Passavant Holistic Healer. I'm everywhere. You guys will find the links, but I typically like to work one-on-one with people, like with Michelle and Dr. Simi, at doing those really deep dive. We do the energetic bit, yes, but I want to do the help on the physical, and I want to help on the mental and emotional.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That's fantastic advice. And I like the idea of the prayer, writing something on. I know Professor Emoto used to do that, didn't he? I did.
Yes,
when I visited Africa one time, I got up in the morning, I was having my cup of tea, and I saw this line of people outside because they'd heard I was a herbalist and a healer, and I was thinking, oh no, what am I going to do
and
here?
herbs.
And yeah, so I got water and I put labels on, and we used to work like that, and it actually worked really well. No,
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
But even herbs, though, you said it.
Oh, herbs as well. Yes, I ran out of those quickly. Yeah, I ran out of those quickly. I gave them all out, and then it's, oh, okay. And I hadn't learned how to use the local herbs at that point. Anyway, it was fun. It was a fun.
But they're a good way to raise your vibration too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Just before we come to Dr. Simi, Mary, now you say you have an earthing mat as well, but can you give a couple of suggestions for people in terms of strengthening their energy, and then just give us your details about how to contact you?
Okay. Think of the elements. Jennifer just talked about breathing. That's air. Talked about walking in the ocean, water, being on the dirt, whether it's in a planter like I have to do it sometimes, or if you can walk barefoot on the ground. That's the earth. And the fire is light that we can use to brighten our mood. I have a seasonal affective disorder high lamp that helps me. And if you think about these elements, it gives you an idea of what might I feel I'm lacking in that. All right, yes, I am going to have breathing more air in on this regular basis, and I'm going to do it in the light, and I will be infused with energy that way, and water will rinse away any of those toxins that might have been on my surface, and water will help the energy flow inside me when I drink it, because it powers up our blood to circulate more freely, bring the nutrition that we take in to all the parts of the body that can utilize it. So bring it up, Jennifer. And there are so many things. And one thing I love about Sacred You is we have these different tribes that will focus. I lead the Wonderful Words tribe, and we have talked about writing very personal things, letters to our inner child to heal those deep wounds, letters to God, making a connection with a higher power, a higher source that then energizes us to get more things done in our lives. So we can utilize so much of the expertise of the powerful women in Sacred You. I highly recommend explore, travel through our village online, and seek out, pay attention to what everyone offers, because it's glorious how you can end up.
Thank you so much, Mary. And yes, Wonderful Words is a fantastic tribe, so I highly recommend it. And interestingly, Jennifer and Mary, of course, are completely in sympathy and sync with each other, because it's Jennifer's put eating high quality food, drinking lots of high quality water, half your body weight in ounces. So I think, yes, we're all on the same page, which is wonderful. So Dr. Simi, can we finish with you?
Yes, of course. I love all the suggestions that have already been made. And I would say start out with the basics, right? Clean water, clean food, breathing clean air if it's possible, right? And clean water or pristine water is an expression of love on our earth. So if we can take that in, if we can find clean water somewhere, that would be, like, I think the best thing you can do for yourselves, along with obviously the other things, the crystals and whatnot. And my expertise, my niche is that I do more long-term work. That's just how my practice is built. So a lot of inner child work and how to navigate through the nuances of the inner child work, because it is challenging work, and we oftentimes don't have the support and the community that's needed. So it's my intention to build a supportive community around that, because communities without the basis of that self-love and self-awareness will self-destruct, basically. I do assist people, and because I understand it's an ongoing journey, sometimes you need someone there every day, right? And then who do we ask? So my intention is to make myself available for this work to people. So I work on all donation basis. I'm trusting life to take care of me in the ways that I need to be taken care of. So I do have a website, it's drsimisas.com, which is drsimisas.com. And I also I have a contact form, send me an email and we can get in touch that way. And I also have, for those of us who live in the States and know what meetup groups are, I have a couple meetup groups. One of them is called Inner Child Work, and the other one is called Mind Body Exploration, where I help you to tune into that inner child that's actually causing your physical illness. And so happy to assist. That's on Zoom, the Mind Body Exploration. So come join me anytime that you feel called to do so. We'll be happy to assist.
Thank you so much. And your website is very vibrant, which is lovely. I do it. So thank you for everybody. Thank you everybody for participating today. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jennifer, Mary, and Dr. Simi. It's been wonderful. I think people have learned a lot. And thank you, Trina, for being an audience member as well. We really appreciate that. And she's coming online. Maybe see her. Thank you, Trina. It was wonderful. And I'm going to pass it over to Sophia to finish and talk just a tiny bit about Sacred You before we go today.
Thank you. And thank you, Charlotte. Seriously, thank you, everyone. This has been an incredible panel discussion. I've been sitting here listening to everyone, and I have questions. But before we do that, before we wrap up, Charlotte, tell us about you. I know you said a little bit in the beginning, but do you have any offers? And I'd love to know what interests you. Like, what did you get out of facilitating this panel discussion? In like 3 words.
Energy is so essential. It's the root of everything. And I think that even if this panel discussion, which I know it did because it was so informative, helps people to understand that it's the root of everything, then it was worth it. Because it's fundamental and it's key. And it's a key to holistic health and a happy life.
Thank you ever so much. Do you have any offers? Of course, we will be putting everyone's links below in the comments, but do you have any offers?
I do give energy healing sessions, also provide herbal medicine consultations. So anybody who just talks about this discussion, quotes this panel about energy fields, I can give 10% off my fee.
That is so kind and so generous. Thank you. For everyone who's listening, do take advantage of Charlotte's offers and all these amazing women, because it's incredible. I said, I've had a wonderful time listening to it. Got lots of questions that I'm going to connect with you afterwards. Definitely going to check out everyone's websites, because I'm also, you know, a great believer in energy, but I want to know more, especially the effects of, what is it, 5D now. But that's a whole different time, different subject. Very quickly, thank you everyone for watching. If you do click on the links below and hit that subscribe button, we would really appreciate it. And while you're there, check out Sacred U's website. It's www.sacredu, that's the letter U, .love. Come and join us. We are a community for women, empowering, connecting, and providing opportunities to grow. That's what it's all about. Belonging. That's the word that I want to talk. Do check us out. Come and join us just for $1. Come and join Mary's Wonderful World Tribe just for $1. And you get 2 weeks to try out Mary's tribe, plus all of our other tribes. After that, we're offering a 50% discount off the lifetime of your membership for however long you're with Sacred U, which we hope is a long time. 50% off. So do check that out on the links below. Thank you ever so much. Had a beautiful, wonderful time, and please do come back again next time to all our amazing speakers and incredible facilitator. And thank you, Trina, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.